My name is Jay Bridgeball. I'm a real estate broker since 1988. I've seen the good days, the bad days, and the not so bad days. My passion is to educate consumer about all aspects in real estate. Actually, I sold over $1.75 billion in real estate. Now, that's a lot of experience. I went through many failures, many successes, and I've seen many stories that you will be amazed. Not everything looks so glamorous as it is sometimes. On Let's Talk Real Estate, we will dig deep down and I will take you step by step through every process, from buying your first home to buying a multi-million-dollar investment property. We will have various people on this show. Lawyers, investors, we'll have mortgage brokers, appraisals, and everyone else to assist us to take you to that point. My aim is to break it down in such easy terms that you will be able to follow. So please join me every Thursday between 1 and 2, and let's talk real estate.
Hi guys, and welcome to this episode of Let's Talk Real Estate. Here with myself, the host, AMIT, and normally Jay Bridgeball, but actually today we have Sheldon Douglas, also from the Bridge team. Both of us are actually from the Bridge team. So thanks for coming out, Sheldon.
Thanks for inviting me again.
All right, good stuff. And specifically the reason I wanted you on here, Shell, is because you and I both do a lot of leases as well. Yes. And in general with the market right now, the rental market is really, it's tough. It's tough to be in. It's tough to get a property. There's a lot of competition. So I kind of wanted to, talk about that a little bit today. So number one, the cost of renting in 2018. And this episode specifically, this episode specifically is going to be geared towards maybe why rent when you can own, right?
Exactly.
So 2018 cost of renting. I know you do rentals a lot over the city.
Exactly.
What's the average rent right now for, I guess, a 3-bedroom bungalow?
Depends on the area. If you're looking in the Brampton area, you'll find a bungalow probably from 22 to 25. That's if it's an older home, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times the bungalow homes are 40 years and up. You'll find it around 2,500.
Yeah, and I've actually seen some that as low, they advertise them as low as 1850 or 1950, but then they go in for bidding.
Exactly.
And then by the time they're bidding, the price is back up to 21 or 22 or 23.
Yeah.
So it's really tough. And these are 3-bedroom homes. So also when you're looking at, a 4-bedroom property or, $2,500 a month, like, that's more than a mortgage is in most cases.
Yeah.
So you really gotta wonder, like, why rent when you could own, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and then condos, for example. I know you do a lot of work in condos. I think you have one coming up in Mimco. That is, right?
Yes, I actually just listed a property for rent in Mimco, 1 bedroom plus a den.
Oh, that's nice. How many square feet about?
It's about 700 square feet. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
We listed it for $1,950. And it's actually one of the more cheaper rentals in that whole condominium building.
Right? Why is that one listed at that price in particular?
The owner has had the unit for a while.
Right.
She's not overly excessive.
She doesn't want. She doesn't want that extra.
She doesn't really care about
$300-400.
the $200 that she will make if she was to list it at 21.
It actually sounds like. It's strange, but it sounds like this particular landlord is actually more inclined to get a better person in there versus get that extra $200.
Exactly.
And the funny thing is, Shell, people don't realize until after they've maybe been burned.
Yeah.
Asking too much up front, you're gonna get it because the market is such right now where it's available. Someone's gonna pay it, but is that person gonna be a good person?
Exactly, and it's basically down to quality over quantity, right? I think if I was gonna rent out one of my investment properties, I would definitely want somebody that is gonna take care of it. I'm not always having to
run over there to change a light bulb
I'm not all into all that, right?
Yeah. Well, so, no one really should be, Shell. And tell you the truth, like in some of our leases, and well, you know this better than anyone else. we've actually now had to insert certain clauses that say,
Yeah.
hey, under $100, you've got to fix whatever it is yourself.
Well,
Because at a certain point, it starts becoming, well, the light bulb was broken. Can you come change it?
Exactly.
And, we're not going over
Yeah,
to, no one really wants to, do that, right?
Yeah,
And if
eventually.
they're going to ask you to come do that, then that means they're probably not doing other things around the home, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't want anybody to take your kindness for weakness. So that's very important. But the rental market is crazy. The most craziest I've seen since I've been in real estate.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to continue to be like that.
Well, and as some of the factors that are really kind of driving that, Shell, are the fact that we've got, I don't know, over 170,000 immigrants coming into Canada in 2018.
Yeah.
And 60% of them are coming to the GTA. Everyone says it's not an issue about a shortage or not enough properties, but I believe it is.
Yeah.
Because realistically, when you look around, where's everyone going to live?
Exactly. You know what? I mean, let's talk about the renters that can most likely go out and get a pre-approval and buy a home. But
You know what? Yeah. You know what?
But they're scared. Right?
Yeah,
Let's talk about that.
You know what? I wanted to leave that for segment 2. I wanted, so let's stick a pin in
Okay.
it, because I really want to talk. I understand. I know people want to get to that, the juicy bits,
Yeah.
but I'm leaving that for next segment. So
Okay.
wait about 5 minutes.
Okay.
All right. So realistically, okay. So now a 4-bedroom home, right? Now, let's just say a 4-bedroom home is going to cost, $2,500 or $2,600.
Yeah.
Shell, who's the person that's really going to be paying that?
Well, the tenant. Right?
When you think about the monthly income from husband, wife, and maybe one adult child, that's a lot of damn money.
Yeah, it really is.
Plus utilities.
Yeah. That's definitely more than what maybe our parents were paying in terms
Well,
of
that's for
rental
sure.
when
That's
they
for
first
sure.
came into this country
Yep,
as immigrants.
that's
right?
for sure.
So,
And even I'm telling you right now, Shell, that's more money than the average person is paying for their mortgage.
exactly.
So then, it gets to a point where I'm really happy the government has stepped in and created new lease regulations, and they're helping out the tenants a lot. But when you have 8 applications for one property,
Yeah.
really money talks.
Yeah. It's
I know you've done a few where you've gone and there's been multiple offers. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, yeah. There's what happens is sometimes the landlords get kind of greedy. So they're waiting for multiple offer situations to come in, and you get your client wanting to give more than what they really need to, right? And
Just to make sure and secure the property, right?
But as good realtors, you want to make sure you follow like your client's legal instructions, right? If it's legal and it's okay, right? Even though you don't think it may not be the best situation for them,
But they need
but
to
if
get
that's
it,
what they
yeah.
really want,
And they need to get it, yeah.
You gotta you'd advise them how you feel about it, but at the end of the day, it's whatever they actually want. Right?
And realistically, we're talking about like a property listed for 2,000 that's going up to 2,200, right?
Yeah, so I've seen it a lot in the Brampton area. I've been focused a lot in terms of rental
Square One,
in that
Mimco,
area.
yeah.
Especially in the newer area of Beauvais and Credit. Is it
Oh,
Credit View?
yeah. So that's actually the Mount Pleasant
The
neighborhood.
Mount Pleasant
Yep.
area, yeah. Over there, everyone's trying to get it over there. Buyers, renters, So
And
yeah.
really, if we can focus on that area for just a quick sec, it's because of the GO train access.
Exactly.
Yeah. So a lot of commuters that don't want to spend $3,000 a month in Toronto don't mind spending the $2,000 in Mount Pleasant and then commuting downtown, right?
And then they have a bunch of amenities that they're trying to build up there as well.
You know what I really like? In the wintertime, that like the park area where the old train station used to be,
Yeah.
it turns into a skating rink.
Yep.
Yeah, and then in the summertime, they do movies, kind of like
Movies, yeah.
Celebration Square or Yonge and Dundas Square.
Yeah.
The library is huge. It's massive.
Yeah.
Like it's a beautiful,
Yeah.
nice library. And then you have GO train access and a bunch of shops. Like
Yeah.
there's pizza place and
Yeah.
whatever.
They definitely have their own little community going on over
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a nice atmosphere.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
nice vibe because I myself have a couple clients that own some places in that neighborhood, and honestly, they're renting as of 2 years ago for 1850.
Okay.
So right now, I'm pretty sure it's over 2,000.
Exactly. Wow.
Yeah, and then they don't want to leave, obviously, because they know that it's gonna go up.
Yeah.
And luckily, they have good landlords, so they don't want them to go either.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
So that makes sense. Wow. So rental market's a little bit tough right now.
Yeah. What can you do, right? It's that's just how the market is going. You just gotta go with the flow, right?
Well, the thing is too, you know, a lot of people have made the transition maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, and maybe 3 years ago, and it was a lot easier back then. So you could, but the real clear issue back then was rent was still relatively cheap. You know, $1,000, $1,200, or whatever the fact is, and the mortgage cost was obviously, you know, still around $1,700, $1,800.
Yeah.
But now, when those two numbers have kind of mashed together, it really makes sense to explore other options, and I guess we'll talk about that in the next segment. So what I'll do is I'll just ask our viewers to just take a quick pause while we get geared up for the next segment, and we'll be back in just a few. Thanks.
T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, guys. On this episode of Let's Talk Real Estate, you've got obviously myself, Adam Kanhai, and Sheldon from the Bridge team. We're talking about a really touchy subject, guys, and it's you know, why rent when you can own. It sounds easy on paper. It's not as hard as many people think about it. And like you were saying, Shel, there's a lot of people that are scared to make the transition.
Sorry, I just want to give you a great example of that. I actually got a call this morning from one of my cousins, and the first thing he said, it was like, hey, Shel, how much is rental going for about a 2-bedroom apartment? I'm like, about 21 to, you know, maybe about 25, depending on where you go. Right? And he was like, okay, like, tell me what I need to get this get these rentals going. And I was like to him, wait. Have you even, like, figured out, like, if you can actually get approved yet for a mortgage or anything? And so I gave him advice. I said, you know what? Look at your assets and look at the liabilities you have, you know, and try your best to create a blueprint for yourself. Right.
That's good advice.
And then
so explain that to some of our explain that particular, because I like that advice. Explain that to some of our viewers how that looks.
Yeah. So when I say create a blueprint for yourself, meaning like just take a look at what you owe and what you have saved, right? Get rid of whatever liabilities that you have going on,
especially anything with high payments.
Yeah, like sometimes there's people that have on their credit card $300 that they could have paid off a long time ago because they've already have $300 in their savings, right? And they're just banking on all that interest that you know
it's being charged to them monthly.
So, so even something like that, or even the fact of the matter is getting your parents involved, right? Especially if your parents have a property, they could use the liquid asset,
leveraging them,
you know, the equity that they have in that home, and hopefully help you in that situation to put you in a position that you
So
can
you can
afford
get
your
a property,
own home.
yeah.
You
And
know?
even if it's an investment, because Shell, I'll tell you the truth,
Yeah.
it's you kind of hit the nail on the head with me myself.
Yeah.
So with my first place, I actually was living with my parents at home, and there was obviously still a lot of space. Like it was, they still live in the same property now. My brother had already moved out, but the fact of the matter is, I saved up about $20,000. I went to get my mortgage. I realized I was short by a little bit, and I just asked my parents to kind of dip into their line of credit a little bit on their house, and they gave me a hand with the additional $5K.
Yeah.
So the fact is that, I know it sounds like a lot. It's hard. But there's other avenues, and there's obviously ways you can get help. So continue with that story.
Another thing is you definitely want to have a part of your blueprint is a mortgage broker, right? Because
or even a banker,
as realtors, we can only do so much in that sense, right?
Yeah, we can't magically get you the mortgage.
and they'll give you the numbers and things and what you need to do to get the job done, right? So that's very important, and that's the advice that I gave to my cousin this morning, hoping that going forward he'll use that advice and utilize it. Right?
Well, specifically, Shell, a lot of people they think, okay, well, yeah, I'm comfortable with spending $2,000 a month for my mortgage plus my utilities, and they just think that the bank is gonna okay them for that because they know they have an additional $2,000 a month or whatever the fact may be. But the approval process is a much different, thing. They're going to look at, like you said, the outstanding debts, the different liabilities, car payments, credit card debts, all those little things the bank's going to look at and say, well, we can't only approve you for a $300,000 property, not a $400,000.
But there's many renters out there that can actually afford a property, right? It's just that they're too scared to jump in the market, and as realtors, we definitely have to step up and do a great job in guiding people
and guide them out of a little bit of the rent cycle. Because you know what, I'll tell you the truth, Shell. A lot of people are they're content with being in the rent cycle because they don't want to pay, additional amounts for maintenance on the property, and then the roof has to go and the windows needs to be fixed. So at a certain point, it's one of those situations where you're a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
And if you're still in that market at $1,500, $1,600, $1,700 from 3 years ago, maybe you're okay. But right now, it's hard for new people getting a property because, like you said, $2,000, $2,500 a month. And when you really think about it, a mortgage broker or a banker can approve you for that property at the same monthly payment, if not less.
Yeah, my advice to any first-time homebuyers, renters out there that are listening to this conversation, approach the market at every angle. Use and utilize everything you can possible to get what you need or what you desire. Right?
Well, even realistically, Sheldon, one of the things that people don't really they kind of frown upon is the B lenders.
Yeah.
And I'll explain to some of our viewers out there what a B lender is, but it's the A lenders are typically the top 5 banks. So that's RBC, Scotia, BMO, National Bank, TD, right? So when you have those guys, they're the A lenders at very realistic and good interest rates, so to say. So that's 2.8% to maybe 3.5%, and that's a normal rate right now. But then the B lenders, they're going to give you a little bit higher rate, specifically if you have maybe bruised credit or something like that. And so if you're scared to make the jump, is what I'm trying to say, and it's specifically because you have bruised credit, don't let that be an issue. Because they're going to go, instead of you getting a 2.9, you're going to get 3.9. And it's only about an extra few $100 on a monthly basis. And if you're looking at spending $2,100 in rent, you might as well spend that $2,100 in mortgage and own the property that you're in. And even so, that's what I'm really trying to get at. And you yourself, Shell, you made the move a few years back, and you switched over because you just I know I don't want to get into like too much personal things, but you thought that it was easy. It's just easier to rent.
Yeah.
Because it really was.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, then when you started getting into real estate and you realized, these are long-term assets, right? And they appreciate.
Yeah. You know what? There's nothing wrong with educating yourself in this world, right? Once you educate yourself, you broaden your whole horizons to everything, right? So, as I said, anyone that is looking to buy, you know, even
or even rent. Yeah, think about every angle.
Approach it at every angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really smart advice. And you know, I'm happy that you had that conversation with your cousin this morning, because it actually resonates so well with the topic that we're discussing right now. Yeah.
Definitely.
Wow. Okay, so realistically, so rental, obviously, we're not saying it's horrible to rent. You know, it's a necessary thing to do what you got to do at certain points. A lot of times you have different goals, but when you're ready to make the move, don't let credit or one of these issues kind of stand in your way. Really,
if you have the down payment, or if you have the help from your parents, which majority of Canadians actually do, right? It's just all about asking, right?
It's a stigma associated.
Right?
It's a stigma associated with not wanting to ask for help. But you know, it's a lot easier to ask your parents for help than to deal with multiple offers or 9 people on a property that's kind of getting, because you're not going to get the property. To tell you the truth, Shell, like, I'll give you an example. I had I've had about 3 properties last month that were up for rent, and we had on average, I'd say about showings in one weekend within maybe like 4 hours, probably 30 or 40 showings. Yeah. So, and we're talking about applications, and one property I remember specifically, I had 31 applications.
Wow.
That wanted to rent the property.
That is crazy.
Yeah, the property ended up going $250 above asking price. This is a rental property, monthly, and I narrowed it down to about 5 people that were perfect. Yeah. And I couldn't even choose. Wow. So the landlord now says, "Well, Amit, what do you prefer?" I'm like, "Well, all these people are actually awesome. So you just have to pick one now." Yeah. And I genuinely felt bad because each family was so genuine. Well, good jobs, you know, educated people, like genuinely nice families that you know would be happy in the property. And then they come to us and say, "Well, hey, honestly, like, you guys have nice properties because you have people that care." Exactly. Because there's a lot of bad properties out there right now. So we're actually going to get into the condition of properties just after the break. So what I'll do is I'll ask our viewers just to take a quick pause on this, you know, hot topic, why rent when you can own, and just bear with us for a few moments and watch a few commercials. We'll be back in a minute.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Welcome back to this episode of Let's Talk Real Estate. I want to thank you guys for joining us. I have myself, AMIT, as always, and Sheldon here from the Bridge team. So what we're doing today is we're really talking about rental homes, why rent when you can own, if it's a feasible thing to make the transition. And this particular segment, I really want to talk about, number one, the lack of properties that are available, and number two, the quality of properties that are available. So, Shell, I know you as well as myself, we've actually been showing people a lot of properties as they come available. People don't have attention to detail anymore, and they really don't. A lot of people, especially I'd say probably 30 or 40% of the properties available right now, they're not a place I want to live in.
Not at all.
They're, I don't mean to talk badly about the quality of homes that are available, but landlords don't want to. They're not giving someone a grade A property anymore. You know, the homes are sometimes dirty carpets, renovations that were done haphazardly, you know, where someone just said, oh yeah, we need new baseboards, they glue them on, right? You know what I mean, or something ridiculous like that. Water damage. Shell, I've seen mold, like actual mold and people were putting it up to rent. It's not right.
Dangerous, actually. It's not good for health.
So give me a story. I know you've had a few where you've gone into some properties and they weren't the best.
A lot of times when I see a bad property,
I try not to show them. I try not to show them first, but
but
in the price range sometimes you have to.
You know, when you look at the MLS listing, sometimes it shows well on the internet, but when once you get there, you see a whole different picture. So
that's kind of what I like to say. The benefit of wide angle lenses and our lovely photography out there. You know, it's like, oh man, I'll make this shine. It's
but what I see common would be probably broken holes in the wall. Mold, yes, you see a lot of mold.
When you think about it, Shell, why are there holes in the wall? This is someone's home. Like, what's going on here? If you maybe had an accident, patch it.
Exactly. Sometimes it's also the tenants living there, and the landlord's maybe not paying enough attention to that tenant, so they're doing whatever they want to that home, and then once they move out, the landlord finds out
like 1 year later that hey, a lot of things have been happening in there and things that they didn't know about. And that brings me to another point. I'll back a few moments. That those photos a lot of the times were when the house was either just purchased or just renovated.
Exactly.
So those specific photos are maybe 3 years old, 4 years old. It's kind of like when you go on your Tinder profile, right? No, but all jokes aside, right? They're old pictures. They're not what you're currently advertising, right? And there's no real rules regarding what it is. It's not really false advertising because you are advertising that property. There's no time limit that says it has to be a 30-day picture.
Yeah, it's true. But those are the things you commonly find in homes. Mold is a big thing for sure because it's a distraction to your health, right? Going into a basement that my client was looking at renting.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, we seen some mold towards where the paneling was, right?
Imagine if you rip that off and see how, because if it's actually showing on the outside, Shell, you imagine what's actually going on behind the wall.
And you will find a lot of mold in basements because there was probably some previous leaking going on, and the landlord didn't do anything about it, or they're not even aware that there was actually some minor leaking going on at that moment in time.
Yeah, because a lot of times maybe and it gets back to the the person that was in the property before. It says, are they going to report these things in a timely manner to the landlord? So it might not always be the landlord, but then as a good landlord would, and I'll share this particular story. I leased out a property. You may know the one on Enfield, in Mississauga. So we had the interview with the tenant last year was amazing. Great family, mom, dad, and one small kid. Seemed like a perfect fit for the home. They worked very close in the area, and it should have been good. 3 months later, my landlord went in, did a check, looked okay as well. He left it for about 6 months. So now we're at 9 months, right? So he goes in there. There are now, instead of 3 people in the property, there are 7 people in the property. This is a 2-bedroom condo, by the way, 2-bedroom plus den, so it's pretty large. It's about 1,000 square feet, but still. So 7 people in the property. And the only way he actually really noticed was because the front desk security, they called him and said, just curious, why do you have 8 fobs? Because he has 1 fob himself for entrance, and there's 7 others. I understand your tenants have been requesting new ones. Have you guys lost them? What's the situation? He said, to my knowledge, there's only 2, one for the husband, one for the wife. The kids 3 years old. They don't have their own fob. So we, we went in there, and I went with them. There was sleeping bags, air mattresses.
Oh, no.
It was like they were running a hostel.
Wow.
It was pretty bad. So kind of what I want to bring to that point is, the landlords, it's your duty as a landlord to make sure the property is upkept well. And then I'll fast forward now, because we obviously got rid of those those people.
Yeah.
So it just leased it out as of this past weekend, the long weekend. So we went in there. The shower was broken. The head was broken. The nozzle was broken. The fridge door was broken, and the place was just in a horrible mess. It was a complete sty. You know what my landlord did? He said, "You know what? I have a duty and a commitment to the next people that get this property." And he went and got a cleaner. Cost $250 to get a cleaner.
Yeah.
$300. Totally spent about $350 fixing the plumbing and the shower and the door handles. And he did that for what reason? He wanted to make sure there was a good quality person coming in. Because if you have a place that's in rough shape, you're obviously going to bring someone you're going to attract someone that's a little bit more rough.
That's definitely important. You definitely want to set a standard, an example to the new tenant that's coming in, right? How a apartment or home is supposed to look like, right? So that's very wise of your landlord to do that.
Yeah, it's also a little bit tough too, because then when your home is shining, it was shining beautifully after that, and then we ended up getting, like I said, 10 applications, and there was a lot of good people.
Yeah.
So really, it kind of drills back down to some of the points that we've been saying. Why rent when you can own, especially on the B side, because these properties they're not excessively expensive, and it really throws back to an older era where maybe in the 80s or 90s where multiple families were buying one home. It's not a bad thing if you have to stick it out and say, hey, cousin, like I've had cousins that are purchasing right now, and they're both married, and they're so these are my clients. And I know the husband and the wife. Then they wanted their cousins to come also buy with them. So now it's 4 incomes, and they're purchasing a property, and they're married. Yeah, people want their space, but honestly, at a certain point, you don't have to rent just to get space.
Yeah.
You can just say, hey, listen, you're having the upstairs, we're having the downstairs. After 3 or 4 years, the way the market goes, you can the equity will come up, and you can just sell the property or take your part out and then buy your own home. There's no shame in that.
Yeah. It's just playing your role, man, with society, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I think that a lot of times, society makes us think that, that's not the right way to do things. Just go ahead and rent. Yeah. But there's no law or rule against having 5 people on title on the property. And I think that we have to really instill that, especially into our community as well, that it's okay. It's okay because sure, it's going to take 4, 5, or 6 years, but after that, guess what's going to happen? You're either going to sell that house and both people are going to split with $300,000 each, or you're going to be able to take that money out and then purchase your own property. It's a stepping stone, and that's really what I want to try to get through to a lot of our viewers out there. That it's sure there's some negative stigma, but like you said, Chel, we need a blueprint and a plan, because without a plan, you're not going to get anywhere.
And you got to sacrifice too.
And that's the major thing. I think a lot of people they're maybe embarrassed to say they're sacrificing, or who do you live with, or I live with 5 people. It's not a bad thing.
You know what? And that's the main thing in terms of real estate. It doesn't matter if you're renting, you're buying, or selling. You always have to sacrifice in some sense.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just really and truly creating a blueprint. Dissecting everything at all angles, and just going through the process.
Yeah, and I like how you said that, making sure you're sacrificing in most angles. Like, hey, if you don't, you got to skip that pizza or skip that shawarma at lunch. Do it, because that's $5 or $8 a day on lunch that you can be saving at the end of the month. That's an extra $100 or whatever the fact is, or $200 that you're putting towards your utilities. So on that note, what I'll do is I'll just stick a pin in it, and I'll ask some of our viewers just to stay tuned, watch a couple of our lovely commercials, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
this event for the community. Well, what if CEO actually stood for catching every opportunity? This week alone, I've seen 3 businesses that shut their doors in this community.
Investing in yourself, like you have to know what your brand is first. So there's no other way that you're going to build a brand unless you network. You have to eventually get out there.
And it stems down to a lot of times not having the right knowledge, the right know-how.
Hi everyone, welcome back to this episode of Let's Talk Real Estate. We're on a kind of a hot button topic today, which is, a lot of social stigmas associated with should I rent, should I buy, is it possible, maybe I should rent with multiple or own with multiple people. So I'm really happy that you're here with me today, Shell, because we've actually been touching on a lot of these topics that we've had questions, and a lot of people don't even leave these questions on the comment because they're a little bit embarrassed. So they actually send emails in. So we're kind of touching on a lot of those things. So realistically, we've kind of covered, how expensive it is to rent right now, and maybe you should just contact a mortgage broker, or even just go to your bank and see if it's possible to make the transition. Because the real issue that we're having, Shell, and I know you're having this too right now. I have guys that are, getting engaged, getting married, anywhere from age 20, 25 to 35. And they're saying, oh, well, yeah, let's just go out and we're going to rent a place for a year or two and kind of see what it's about. And then they go out and see the rental market, $2,000 a month for a little box, right? And then when you add utilities on top of that, you end up getting into a cycle where, let's be honest, you're stuck because husband and wife, newlywed, kind of combined income is probably going to be disposable income on a monthly basis is not going to be that high. So when you're looking at spending $2,000 a month for rent plus utilities, you don't really have any other time to enjoy anything else. So and there's also another social stigma that was associated with this situation in particular is why do you have to leave your parents? No, maybe not. Just stay with your parents for a few years and save up a little bit more. So it's one of those situations. Anything along those lines you've had client conversations about, or?
Yeah. See, I also have a prospective client that's also looking to buy a home, and they want to buy a home as soon as their wedding's over with. Right? So if they can move in the day after that wedding's done, they would, right? So my advice to them was maybe cut back on the wedding costs. I know everybody wants the most fabulous.
Weddings for 1 day or 2 days or whatever. Well, but hey, we're in Brampton right now. Weddings are for 7 days now.
And I'm not telling anybody what to do with their money or anything of that sort. But the market has changed, and we do have to be realistic, right? So if you do want to get into the market, maybe try cutting back on wedding expenses, right, and taking that money.
Shall if I can interject for a sec. The last wedding I went to, it was beautiful. It was fabulous. And I just out of curiosity, I asked one of the cousins of the groom, do you know? I'm just curious. This is pretty intense. Like, how much did this cost? He said, I think it's over 65,000.
Cool.
And what is that really for? You know,
Yeah.
like it's to impress everyone. But then and then I actually spoke to the groom after, and he was like, yeah, it was a lot more than we thought. It ended up escalating from XYZ. But then at the end of the day, I said, well, so where are you guys gonna be like staying after this? So we're gonna move in with her parents for a couple years.
Yeah.
Like, so for 1 day or 2 days, you're sacrificing 2 years. You know,
60,000, 3 years.
yeah, exactly, 3 years, right? That's 3 years of rent. That's a down payment on a home. So I know it's not the thing that people want to hear, and definitely I know wedding planners that are watching, you don't want to hear that either. But we're saying don't put the budget there.
Yeah.
Go to City Hall, sign papers. I'm pretty sure that's what my parents did. I'm pretty sure that's what, you know what I mean. It's just, it's a frivolous expense that's for Instagram and Facebook,
That's true.
or to show off.
Yeah,
You know,
they say the wedding's never for you and your spouse.
Your spouse, yeah.
It's always for everyone that's there. Right?
yeah.
So,
A great party, like.
yeah, or just even minimize the guests that you invite. Minimize where
It's
wherever
done.
you're
That
doing
doesn't
it,
happen
right?
anymore. It doesn't
So,
happen anymore. Yeah, but I understand what you mean. Yeah.
You know, you could save a little bit everywhere. you know, so,
Try telling your future wife that.
Oh.
But no, on that note, I really want to start. I know we've been talking on this because there's a lot of hot button issues, and it's a lot of controversy about this, and that's kind of what makes a good show. So I'm
Yeah.
glad you came on. But I want to give people the real deal. So I'm glad you were here for that. Now, quickly, a market update, Shell. This is a pretty crazy time. A lot of turmoil in the market. You and I were in a meeting just yesterday, and you know we've actually heard a few good things about the market and a few things that are actually changing with the banking system. So one thing I'll share quickly is, you know, make sure you get checked at the bank, because there's a few new tricks and rule changes or ways to manipulate it that can actually get you approved. So make sure you check with your bank. Make sure you check with your broker. Even if you think that you don't have the best relationship with your bank, you know, there's sometimes a lot of times.
Best to try, right?
Yeah, they're looking to lend right now. So market update in general. Let's start with condo market. What do you feel about the condo market right now?
Condo market is still seeing competition going on.
Yeah.
But why is that happening? Because those are the most affordable assets right now.
Yep.
Right. For example, I was actually in a situation where my client had put an offer on a condominium townhouse. We were the only offer.
Nice.
Right? Until like 12 hours later, it became 5 offers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
So, you know, it became a bidding war, and my clients were unhappy, but I just told them, you know, just be patient. You know, we had 2 rounds, and we were able to get it, right?
Really? Did you guys end up going up?
Yeah, we ended up going up. We actually ended up showing up in person. Right?
And you know what? And I'll tell you right now, and that's why I respect you a lot, because it's about the hard work and showing up to the property in person, because that's going to show the other side that you're serious about it. Not to do a spokes advertisement for Sheldon here, but he's a good guy when it comes to that, because you know it's going to separate you from the other agents, right? So you end up going over asking price as well, or
not over asking price, but we went at asking price actually, and we got it, right? So a lot of times you find in the bidding wars that are going on right now, they're not really going over asking price, but they're leveling out with the sale price.
Right.
So you will have maybe 4 offers. Somebody might go extremely low, mid, and then you have 2 higher
that are
offers,
fairly close,
right?
and you
They're
kind of
fairly close,
you're battling with that particular person.
I even found that with one of my listings that I had in Orangeville.
Oh yeah.
For the month of December, you know, it was kind of dead, because everyone's, you know, more focused on the Christmas season. January was still on the market.
It was cold, yeah.
Yeah. And then towards the end of January, you started seeing the market start to pick back up again. Right. Well, at least in that area, and we had 3 offers.
Wow.
Right?
So no offers for 2 months, and then 3 offers in 1 week.
So the offers that we were getting, they were good offers, but they were not going over asking price, right? Which we weren't really looking for a bidding war, but it kind of set the tone there that, okay, this year there's gonna be bidding wars, but
Right.
is there gonna be much properties going over?
That was
asking
also
price?
a condo as well, or that was a house?
This one was actually a house.
Okay, yeah. So so that's kind of condo market. In my opinion as well, I agree with you. Condo market is there's a lot of competition, and it's just because that's the most affordable asset. In my humble opinion, or in my view, I'm seeing condo prices increase by maybe 1% a month, or maybe 0.5% per month, and I believe it's going to probably continue on until maybe summertime. So townhouses, I think they're kind of in the same boat. You briefly touched on that. Houses and bungalows, anything over 600,000, they're kind of stalling right now. Yeah.
In that sense, it's becoming more of a balanced market there, because it's now allowing buyers to come in and actually look at the home and
do an
really
inspection,
decide if they really,
make sure they
wanna
love
go
it.
through with this process, right? So
Because when you don't have all those all that time, you tend to make an uninformed decision. When you're just going, oh, there's 5 people here, okay, I want it.
Exactly.
When you have enough time to go through and inspect everything, look at all, and that's really what it's about. It's a nice, fair and balanced market. So properties over 600, 700, 800,000, they have time to look at the property, number one, and then also time to negotiate, number two, which is pretty important. Yeah.
And I even realize with the value going on in the market right now, there's still people hanging on the fence. And it's like, have you not learned your lesson last year? Everyone thinks the market's gonna go down. It's going down. It's still going up. Right?
Yeah, and
little but surely.
Yeah, I'll touch on that for a sec too. And I tell you, I probably say it once every episode. I don't call it news. I call it noise. Because what's happening, because these guys are saying, oh my goodness, the real estate market is down 45%. The average person that goes to work every day, wakes up, drinks their coffee, drops their kid to school, is going to hear that on the news and say, oh my goodness, my house that was 500,000 is now only worth 300,000? Is that true? It's not true. So really what you got to do, get educated, like you said, contact a professional, like someone from the bridge team maybe, or realistically just do a little light reading and kind of educate yourself, because like you say, Michelle, why rent when you can own? Yeah, so it's kind of the topic of what we're talking about today. So also what I want to do is just thank you guys for tuning in today. It's been a really hot button type of episode, and I really want to thank you for joining us. I look forward to seeing you guys next time. So AMIT and Sheldon signing off.